See here, fire crews are busy battling two different fires, one in Bellevue and another in Arlington tonight.
Let's start with the fire in Bellevue first. Take a look at some video we got from a viewer. And it shows the smoke there coming off the roof. Jamie Tompkins is on the scene of that fire where 4 people have already been rescued.
Yeah, David, I was actually here when I saw one gentleman who was lying here on the sidewalk. He was bandaged up, he was crying, and then he was taken away on a stretcher. As you mentioned, we know 4 victims so far taken from this fire. Joining me right now is Lieutenant Ryan Armstrong with the Bellevue Fire Department. Can you kind of walk us through how did this thing start? When did this start?
At approximately 7:30 tonight, there was multiple calls for a structure fire inside the condominium behind me. Firefighters showed up, worked aggressively to combat this from the interior with hose lines, ventilate, and search for victims. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims that were removed, as there were 4 victims removed, 2 that are currently in cardiac arrest, 2 more with smoke inhalation and burns that are currently being treated.
Do you know, are you still looking for people within this apartment complex?
This search has been concluded. All occupants are out at this time. We are working with the Red Cross to see how we can help them specifically. We just know of the 4 occupants that were removed that are injured that are going to local hospitals.
We could see when we got off the highway, we could see the flames as we were approaching. It was a pretty massive fire. Can you talk about the fight tonight?
Yeah, this is a 2-alarm fire. We have approximately 25 fire department personnel apparatus on scene, well over 60 firefighters, all from surrounding agencies, including the Bellevue Fire Department. So this was a very large fire. In these condominiums, these large complexes, there's approximately 20 units here. It's very aggressive, it's very difficult, but firefighters are working actively to combat this, along with searching the structure as well.
Any idea how this fire may have begun? I talked to witnesses who live in apartments around here, and they tell me they heard an explosion and then they saw the flames.
At this time, the fire is currently under investigation for the cause and origin, but as soon as that information is available, we'll disclose that.
Where do you guys stand in the firefight right now? I can still see flames coming out from the rooftop.
Most of the fire is under control at this time, but you are correct. There are still some flames in the attic space. These open attic spaces, fire can move very quickly, but again, we are aggressively attacking this fire. It should be completely extinguished shortly, but most importantly, all the occupants are out at this time, and we are addressing the 4 occupants that were injured as well. And luckily, there are no firefighter injuries at this time.
Any word on those 4 victim conditions?
Not at this time. Again, we know the status of where they were at when we transported them, and our thoughts and prayers certainly go out to them, hoping for the best.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us here. I want to give you guys just kind of a live scene, and I'm going to step out of the way just so you can take a look at what we can see right now. And Sarah, if you can get tight in on that roof, you can see, as the lieutenant was saying, there are still flames, some hot spots that they are fighting right now. Again, the good news here is they have cleared that building out. They know that they've gotten all of the occupants out of this building. Witnesses on the scene tell me this is an older apartment complex, just an older building to the neighborhood. So no word on how that exactly plays into this firefight here, but you can see we've got dozens of fire vehicles on the scene, and they're attacking this fire with hoses from both ends of the building. Again, I saw one witness or one victim myself. When I arrived on the scene, he was here on the sidewalk. It seemed as though he was either surrounded by some neighbors or possibly friends or family. He was wrapped, his arm was wrapped in gauze, and he was crying. There were tears in his eyes. And so moments later, he was put on a stretcher and taken away. So, of course, our thoughts and prayers are with all of the people who were affected in this. Again, 4 people taken to the hospital tonight. As soon as we have more information, we will bring that to you.
All right, Jamie, and just by the way, for you guys at home, this is near Bell Square in Bellevue. It's kind of on the southwest side of the main park in Bellevue, near Main Street, the old Main Street. So, Jamie, thank you very much. We'll continue to stay on that fire and join you back in just a moment.
Yeah, we're going to go to Arlington now, where Annie Andrews is on the scene of a completely different fire there. Annie, bring us up to speed where this is and what happened.
Yeah. David and Marnie, very different fire, but listening to what Jamie was saying, it sounds very similar. We are in old downtown Arlington. We're on North Olympic Avenue, and you can see just off to my left that their firefighters are still looking for hot spots in what is being told it's 2 bits and more. It was a thrift shop, and right behind it, you had a lot of apartment complexes, little residences, and we're told about 10 to 15 people are displaced right now, while fire crews are working actively to put out any more hot spots that might be around. And I'm joined now by Kristen Banfield with the city of Arlington, and you said this call came in right around 7 o'clock City Council was meeting and they heard something.
Yeah, we heard a large explosion, a large boom, which is very unusual for a normal council meeting night. So immediately came outside, determined that there was a large explosion. We already had fire crews on scene at that point in time, and so we were able to move everybody back into the council chambers, keep everybody safe.
Now, there's lots of blessings here. One, there's a restaurant that's right next door, and that one is called the Bistro. And fortunately, they don't have service on Monday night, so that means it was vacant at the time of this fire. And 2 Bits and More, was anyone impacted in that store?
No, not at this time that we are aware of. That business closes at about 6 o'clock in the evening, so we're very fortunate at this point in time to know that no one was injured in that facility.
Now, very similar, I feel like, to downtown Bothell. You're dealing with these older buildings in old downtown, and we're told that this 2 Bits and More, this location, these buildings were born in the 1800s. They were built late 1800s, early 1900s, and that's presented a big challenge for fire crews. Talk about that.
Yeah, it's very difficult, especially when you have these older buildings that have been remodeled a number of times. So you have walls that have been moved and displaced a number of different times, creating different pockets that the firefighters all have to reach into and gain access to make sure there's no fire in there. So that's what they're focused on doing right now.
And actually, to protect them, you said that you've had to call firefighters out. So right now, they're not in those residences that are surrounding that area.
That is correct. They are attacking this from the exterior of the building right now. We are not allowing any firefighters to go into the building at this point in time.
Certainly presenting some unique challenges, but fortunately you said no firefighters have been injured, and as far as we know, no civilians are injured either.
That is correct at this time.
So the fire crews are going to continue actively working, and you can see they're using their ladder truck to gain vantage. Now, I was talking to a few eyewitnesses who said that they actually heard this loud boom, and it was one of the floors collapsing, and it was because the heat, was the pressure of the heat. Kristen, is that right?
Well, we did have some, these are older structures, wood structures, and so we did have some fire that created a partial collapse onto the back side of the one of the buildings, and so that was part of what one of the big booms was. The other one was the heat building up within that facility that blew out the windows.
Okay. So we're going to continue to stay out here. We are in downtown Arlington, where it's very much an active fire scene. Fire crews still working to make sure that there aren't any hot pockets, and also making sure that none of this fire spreads to any other buildings in this old downtown of Arlington. You know, our minds go right back to what happened in Bothell and how quickly that fire was able to spread. And so fire crews are right now trying to make sure everyone else stays safe while this avenue of North Olympic Avenue has been vacated. Marnie, David, back to you.
Okay, Annie, thank you. Let's bring in Walter Kelly now and talk about how the weather's impacting the firefighting efforts. It is a little bit wet outside. You can see some of the rain that we had around the area earlier today.
Yeah.
And how's that going to affect things going into the evening?
Well, you start worrying about fires, especially apartment buildings and stuff. You start thinking, is it too cold? Because everybody now is displaced. And at least tonight it's not going to be overly cold. In fact, the low tonight around 50, which is pretty good for this time of year. We've had some freezing, but we definitely have a little bit of rain to talk about. Let's show you what it looks like. Most of it's moved east side. Most of it's moved up into the hills. We are going to go for rain continuing pretty much over the Cascade Crest for tonight. If you look at Seattle, we've dried out. Tacoma, we've dried out. And out by the beach, we've pretty much dried out too. So we did have those rain showers around.